Hey guys, Roman Trust here with Peak Fitness, and today guys, we're gonna be doing a chest and back workout. So like I stated in the introduction guys, today I'm gonna do a chest and back workout for you guys. Now, I haven't done a workout video in a while, and I figured it's time that we go ahead and do one. Now, one thing that you guys may notice with some of my previous videos is I am pretty big on doing push-pull type workouts. So for example, I work one muscle group and then I work the exact opposite. So in this case, it's gonna be chest and back. Now I know some people out there like to do push workouts one day and pull the next. So for example, it'll be like chest and tris or back and bis. So that's not gonna be this here guys. The reason I really like doing these kind of workouts is because it's generally gonna be all upper body one day, all lower body the next day, and you're getting almost a full body workout, which is really great for burning fat. As you all know, Peak Fitness is about helping people lose weight. Now, just a little warning out there for everybody. This particular workout is going to be geared towards those people who go to the gym or have some type of gym equipment at home. I know at Peak Fitness, I always state, you know, I'm all about showing you guys how to do things at home with little to no gym equipment, and I will show you guys a chest and back workout next week for you guys at home. But today guys, I really want to show you guys something you can do at the gym or at your home workout gym. So with that guys, let's go ahead and get started. Now the first workout, or first thing you want to go ahead and do, is do a warm-up. Now as you can see here, I like to do abdominal exercises first. Why not do those first? You engage your core all day long generally, and it's warm enough that you can go ahead and use that as a warm-up to get your core temperature up. So might as well knock out two birds with one stone, get your warm-up in, and get your abdominal exercise in there. I went ahead and did 1 minute of several different ab exercises. You guys can pick whatever you want. I tend to start lower and work my way up to upper abs. So I did leg lifts first. Followed by Russian V-twists. Followed by standard crunches. Going into planks. And then going alternate elbow to knee planks. So that way I can really build the stabilization muscles. Now after that guys, I've talked about in the past videos, make sure you do some type of mobility exercise on particular muscle groups that you went ahead and you're gonna work out. So for example, today it's chest and back. So I'm focusing on stretching out my chest, doing like mobility drills for my chest, as well as doing mobility drills for my back. Now some of the chest mobility exercises I like to do is just doing swing my arms, crossovers, and wide open. What that's gonna do is that's gonna kind of lubricate up your shoulders a little bit, kind of get the muscles nice and loose, ready to work out. Now we're not stretching them, so we don't really want to hold any kind of stretches. Another thing you're gonna see me do is a type of shoulder rotation where I'm swinging the arms forward for about 8 to 10 counts, then I reverse it, and reverse it going the opposite direction, and I'll do it again, going forward again for 8 to 10, and then backwards 8 to 10. You can do that as many times as you need to. Another thing you'll go ahead and you'll see me do is sometimes I'll kind of do, maybe I'll do like some type of back rounding exercises. So I'll go ahead, like interlace my fingers, push my arm straight out, and I'll round my back to kind of help stretch some of the scapula and the back muscles, get them prepared. You'll also notice I like to bend forward a little bit, get my hip flexors and my lower backs into the workout as well. Sometimes I'll keep a flat back up, sometimes I'll roll my back up, whichever is, I feel I'm gonna need to be doing to get my back good and ready for this workout. Next thing you're also gonna notice is I'll do some back rotations where you'll see me, I'll hold onto a bar, I may spin, keeping my pelvis and my hips grounded, and I will go ahead and turn to kind of really get some rotation in my back to keep that flexibility and mobility in my back as well. And lastly, you're gonna also notice that I may go ahead and do some shoulder stretches almost, where I'll cross the arm in front of me and I'll pull real briefly to kind of help just get that little extra stretch in there. You don't want to do any kind of static stretching before a workout because you don't want to overstretch your muscles while you're going to load them up. All right, so as soon as I'm done doing my rotations, shoulder rotations, and mobility drills, we're gonna go right into our workouts. Now, today's workout, guys, is going to be supersets. So that means we're gonna do one exercise, going right into the other with very little break in between. And we're gonna be doing 3 sets of each workout. So we're gonna do one exercise right into the other one, then we'll take a little break, and we're gonna do a total of 3 sets. Now, the rep range we're gonna wanna go ahead and do is 6 to 8 rep range. Now, if you're not really sure where your 6 to 8 rep range is, you may need to feel it out a little bit for you guys. So, you know, if you end up going like say 10 reps or something like that before hit failure, that's okay. If you hit 4, that's okay. If you hit muscle failure a little too early, you know to lighten it up. If you hit it a little later, you know to add more weight. That's all there is to it. It's no big deal, guys. All right, so as you can see here, I'm not the biggest, bulkiest guy out there. I'm still pretty lean and thin. For me, this is actually quite heavy. So I'm going to 6 to 8 rep range, when the first thing we're gonna go ahead and do is bench press. So we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves set up on the bench. Remember, we're gonna do the 6 to 8 rep range. You wanna keep your hands roughly about shoulder width apart, elbows pointing at about a 45-degree angle, keep your feet flat on the floor, and go ahead and knock out 6 to 8 reps. If you need a spotter, get a spotter. If not, go ahead and lighten that weight just a little bit, maybe like 5 or 10 pounds, so that way you don't kill yourself. Now, as soon as you're done doing those, we're gonna go right into lat pull downs. Now, I don't have a machine here. If you at the gym have a lat pull down machine, go ahead and use the machine. If you feel froggy, you can go ahead and do regular pull-ups, 6 to 8 pull-ups if you can hit that range. If not, otherwise, go ahead and use the lat pull down machine. In this case, you'll see I'm using bands. I have multiple bands together, so I get a lot of resistance, so I can hit try to hit that 6 to 8 rep range. Now, when you're using a lat pull down machine or the bands, you really want to think about those elbows moving in a big wide arc circle of motion, so that way you can really engage and contract them lats. So that way you're working the lats and you're not using other muscle groups to help pull them down or anything like that. So again, as soon as you're done with that, go ahead and take a short break, 30 seconds to 1 minute break, and then you're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that. Those 2 exercises again 2 more times. All right, now as soon as those are done, we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves set up for the next exercise. Try to keep the setup, if possible, as short as possible. Right? We don't want too long of a break. We're trying to keep our heart rate elevated. We're trying to keep that pump. We wanna make sure we're getting that sweat on right there. So what our next exercise is going to be incline bench presses, or dumbbell bench presses. You can use a regular bench press if you want. And also it's going to be the T-bar rows. So go ahead, get your bench set up to around 45 degrees or so. And you want, again, we're shooting for 8 to 10 rep range. Now at home, unfortunately, I do not have weights heavy enough to hit the 8 to 10 rep range. So I'm gonna be going a little bit more reps in this case here. However, something that you can do is like a pause or rest pause at the bottom of the rep. So as you go down, you can hold it for a second or two, so that way it's more time under tension and you'll hit that rep range. So you can do that. Now when doing this, guys, make sure your shoulders or your elbows don't go too far past your shoulders, because you can really injure your shoulder as well as your chest. So try to keep it around parallel, if anything, just a smidge below parallel. And when you come up, really think about squeezing them elbows together so you can really also work the inner part of your chest. So you almost get like that crossover effect using dumbbells. And as soon as you're done with that, you want to get up and move over to the T-bar row. Now, it'd be better if you have T-bar handles. I don't. Something you can use is using a towel. Get a towel rolled up. Get a towel, especially when you don't care if it tears or something like that. Rolled up really nice and tight. Otherwise, you might get a slight tear in it if you're not careful, and you don't want that to tear on you, okay? But you can use a towel for T-bar row. Get your barbell set up properly with enough weight, so again, you're gonna hit the 6 to 8 rep range. Now, when you're doing this, make sure that you go ahead, you need to have a slight bend in your knees. Kick them hips back so you can lock your back in place so you don't injure your back. And you want to have that rag or that handles as close to the bottom side of the weights as possible. And you want to pull up. Really think about contracting that back muscles tight, trying to touch your elbows together so that way you can get a good strong contraction. Great thing about T-bar rows is you generally can get a harder contraction than you can say bent over rows, which is why I did this. This is going to focus on working a lot of that middle portion of your back, your rhomboids and everything else, and a good portion of your lats as well. So go ahead and knock those out, 6 to 8 reps. As soon as you're done with that, you take about a minute break, 30 seconds to a minute break, and then you do these again, 2 more sets, 6 to 8 reps each, and then after that, we'll jump right into our next set of exercises. Now, the next set of exercises we're going to do is going to be weighted dips and rack pulls. Now, if you're at a gym, you can use a dip machine that can add the resistance for you, or you can go ahead and do decline bench presses. All going to do the same thing. It's going to work your lower chest is what we're aiming for here with the weighted dips. I'm going to use a weighted backpack to help me hit the 6 to 8 rep range while doing these dips. Now, when you're doing these dips, guys, make sure your shoulders and your arms are in a good position. So your fingers generally need to be pointed forward or slightly out. And you want your elbows pointed also slightly back in a 45-degree angle. And when you're doing this, you really want to focus on leaning forward slightly so you can really work the lower chest muscles. When you get all the way up, really think about contracting as hard as you can or as much as you can when you're doing these. I know by this point my chest is shot, they're tired, so it's going to be really hard, and I know that. But do the best you can. Now, as soon as you're done with that, go ahead and jump right into these rack pulls. Now, be careful when doing rack pulls. If you've never done a rack pull before, start with just a bar or dumbbells or something along those lines, and don't load up too heavy. But we still want to shoot for the 6 to 8 rep range. So if you've done it before, that's the goal. If not, please be careful. So get yourself set up here. Same thing as if you're doing the T-bar rows. You want to go ahead and get yourself in a good wide stance. You want to have your feet about shoulder width apart, a slight bend of the knees. You want to kick those hips back so you can lock that back in place. Bend forward. You want to hip hinge and pivot at the hip there, so that way you're not going to use your back or risk injuring yourself. You want your grip to be approximately shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider, and you want to have that bar against your legs actually. And then when you come up, think about pulling up with your back and pushing forward with your hip at the same time. You may need to activate your legs a little bit, slightly straightening your legs to help get that bar up. When you come all the way up, think about pushing that pelvis forward so you can really get that lower back and those hip flexors to contract. Same thing on the way down. Go ahead, hip hinge on the way down, and just touching the bars, or if you have the straps, and then same thing again, pulling all the way back up again. You want to keep going in a quick succession here, but controlled. You want quality, not quantity. Going up and down 6 to 8 times. Now, one thing that may happen to a lot of people who've never done this before, or especially beginners, is that your grip may not be strong enough to hold the weight. Your back may be strong enough to be able to do the weight, but your grip may not be. If that's the case, you're going to need to lower the weight and just do a few more reps to work your back. So that way, your hands are not going to give out on you, risking damaging your equipment, hurting yourself, and just being an annoyance at the gym. Now, the last exercise that I like to do, and this is strictly optional for you guys, is I like to do some type of tricep and bicep burnout on my chest and back days. That's usually just one set of 1 tricep and bicep exercises. And I'm gonna go for generally high reps, 20 to 30 reps. In this case here, I go ahead and I do incline tricep extensions, kind of similar to skull crushers. And I just rep out 20 reps real quick. To really get a burn on those triceps. Since I've worked them already today, might as well get a little bit more out of them. Same thing for the biceps. I just do some incline curls. I'm not going super heavy. And an incline, you're going to find out you don't need to curl nearly as heavy. There's a lot more stretch on your biceps. So dropping the weight significantly, you're still going to feel it. Again, this is a burnout. So we're just trying to get that burning sensation in our biceps here. So again, you want to go to about 20 to 30 reps. Now guys, that's at the end of the workout. Something you can do that I like to do, you can see this small video piece over here, is I like to do about a 5 to 10 minute burst training type cardio. In this case here, I did some boxing, punching bag, shadow boxing stuff here. If you guys are fighters and boxers, please, I know my form sucks, but this is mostly just for me to burn fat and stuff. I try to do good form, but hey. You can either do that, you can go ahead and do some sprints, burpees, whatever if you want. Afterwards, guys, make sure you cool down and you do your stretch, and make sure you guys are drinking plenty of water while you're doing this. With that, guys, hopefully you found this video helpful and it's another workout that you guys can do. If you did find this helpful, go ahead, hit that like button. Also, if you got any comments or suggestions, leave them down below. And also don't forget to click on that subscribe button and hit that bell for more notifications. With that, guys, thank you for watching and I'll see you later.